most of the time, something that happens before suicide is a deep, strong depression. So people who decide to, commit or attempt suicide, basically they really lost motivation to live. They don't have any, they don't see anything. Their purpose, why they're there on earth, they don't know what they can change. They don't see the light at the end of the tunnel. They're really trying, but they cannot. It's important if we feel something like that, like we are losing the motivation to live, to really start to connect psychotherapists, to talk people around yourself, with your support system, with your family members, friends, colleagues.
Hello and welcome to the Disrupt the Everyday podcast. We're here to help you navigate life while disrupting the status quo. Our discussions cover a number of topics relevant to everyday life. We discuss everything from relationships to entrepreneurship. We also engage in some difficult but important conversations. And now, here are your hosts, Brian and Tanya Hamilton.
Welcome to another episode of the Disrupt the Everyday podcast. Today, we will be talking with Milica Krstic. Milica, thanks for joining us today.
Thank you for asking me to join, and it's a pleasure to be here.
Awesome. Well, it's a pleasure to have you on the show. Now, let's get started by learning about you. Who is Milica Krstic?
So I'm a psychologist and supervised integrative body-oriented psychotherapist on PhD studies in social sciences at the UCAM University in Spain. My life goal is to provide people with not just affordable psychological support, but free support, so that money is not a prerequisite for mental health. I help entrepreneurs and business professionals to create healthier and more honest relationship with themselves and others. In 2020, I came up with the idea of creating a platform where psychotherapists will provide free psychotherapy sessions to people who are financially unable to pay for psychotherapy. When 7 of my friends attempted suicide and one of my friends committed suicide, the idea was slowly prepared and developed so that in April 2022, the Siguran Prostor, it means safe space, platform started operating, and in less than 5 months, over 1,000 people received help. Until recently, thank you. Until recently, the platform was only available for users from the Balkan countries, but the idea of free psychotherapy spread quickly, so a large number of fellow psychotherapists from all over the world came forward to support the idea, and the platform Siguran Prostor is available in addition to Serbo-Croatian and in Macedonian, Turkish, English, and Norwegian language. The mission of Siguran Prostor platform is to reduce anxiety, depression, and the number of suicides.
Awesome. Well, and yeah, so for anybody who's watching, we have the website up on screen now. For anybody who's listening, we'll make sure that that's in the show notes for you. But it's such a great work. It's such a great idea, and there's such a need for it right now, especially coming out of what we've dealt with for the last few years with the lockdowns and people feeling isolated. We definitely saw an increase in the need for mental health support, and is probably putting light on an issue that was already should have been front of mind, because our healthcare resources, especially here in Canada and the US, they weren't the greatest. We definitely had a lot of gaps, and this just really magnified it. And I guess, have you found the same thing in your part of the world?
Same here. So because of that, I created something like this so we can support more people.
Okay. Yeah, absolutely. All right. Now, one of the things, and there's a few things that we'll talk about throughout the course of this interview today, but the one thing that really stuck out to me when I was just doing some research about you is, the need for the comfort, to have the comfort to say no to certain things and protect your personal boundaries. So can we talk about that? Can we unpack that a little bit? Why is it important to be able to just say no?
So it's very important to say no, to have ability and courage to say no, because when we say no, we protect ourselves, our space, everything that we are. Most of the time in our childhood, while our parents were, let's say, raising us, they were in that period of time, we didn't have boundaries, because they've created us, and basically we cannot say no to them. We can try, but most of the time they don't hear them, or they can hear our no, but they don't listen to it. So later on in life, we live our lives with that sense of my no is not heard. Because of that, people are trying to step on our boundaries. They don't respect our no. We sometimes don't respect our no. As example, if I say no, maybe others can hear it, but I won't trust and believe in it because so many times in the past people didn't hear it when I was saying it. And because of that, my no doesn't have any value. But in order to have healthy mental health and to have a healthy connection and relationship with ourselves, it's important to start to have trust in our no. So when we say no, we understand that others will hear it. And it's exercise. We need to practice that. Of course, at the beginning, when we say no, we'll feel weird, because so many times in the past we said no and no, but no one heard it. And when you start to say no and people start to feel confused while you're saying no, because in the past so many times you said yes instead of saying no. But when you start to practice it slowly it will become stronger. And some people need 1 month, some people need 2 years. It doesn't matter, but give yourself time in order to practice to say no and to stay calm about it. But yeah, it's very important to have your no in order to protect yourself.
I totally agree with that. And then along with, practicing to say no is trying to find that balance. And with your work, I know you speak to leaders and, really teaching them and teaching them how to find that. And it's interesting, right? Because so many people you talk to, a lot of people will say, well, I don't really feel like I have that balance, right? Because, at sometimes in life, something does have to give. It's really hard to keep it. I guess you could say 50-50. But how do you teach leaders that you work with to work on that balance in their life and incorporating it to their family and their workplace?
So basically, the first thing that is important to mention is that when someone asks us to help them, we can say yes, but internally we can feel no. We can feel nervous, anxious. We can feel like something is not okay. In that situation, since I'm integrative body-oriented psychotherapist, I teach people how to hear their bodies. Body can say so many things. Think about those things, and with our brain analytically think about them. But basically, our body is a brain itself, and it can say so many things. So basically, in those situations when we want to say no, but instead of that we say yes, internally we have feeling that something is not right. So what I'm teaching my clients, I teach them to listen and to connect it with their emotions and sensations in their body. So there are 4 basic emotions. It's anger, fear, sadness, and happiness. And a lot of people are calling so many things emotions, but those 4 are the basic 4 emotions. And constantly I teach them to connect with those emotions and to allow themselves to feel them. Because if we only focus on happiness and that positive way of thinking and forgot or try to put down all those the rest 3 of them, then we create problem to ourselves and our inner balance. So the key to balance and to create strong, healthy boundaries is to allow yourself to feel negative emotions because they're healthy as well. And if we protect ourselves of feeling them, we are creating a problem.
Right. So one of those things too, and just kind of circling back to a point you made earlier, and the way that we're raised, to how our upbringing impacts who we are as an adult. A lot of times we'll learn as kids that it's not okay to get angry. It's not okay to be mad. But, that was one of the 4 things that you mentioned. So I guess what is your thoughts on that? Is it okay to be angry then? It seems like it's a natural emotion.
Of course it's okay. It's the best way to let's say, teach your kids to express anger, to say, I see you are angry and it's okay. Most of parents, they don't have capacity of children's anger because it's wild, it's, rough. When your child tell you, as example, you're stupid, you don't know anything. Sometimes kids say that, but it's their way of communicating, and they're learning about life and things. They're not rude and they don't want to hurt their parents, but they're trying to learn about life, how to communicate, what's right, what's wrong. And sometimes some parents doesn't have capacity to deal with that um, rough anger that their children is expressing. It's important in those situations to tell children that their anger is welcome, and when their anger is welcome in their childhood, later on in their life, they can feel fine when they're angry. But if we are, as parents, telling them, don't be angry, you're too little, you don't have right to be angry, and so many parents are doing that, unfortunately, we're blocking them to feel anger. And later on in life, they're having a problem and difficulty to deal with their anger, and they think that if they express anger, someone will abandon them and, leave them because, they cannot be angry.
And also, even just learning how to be angry in a healthy way, right? Because if they were shut down from really feeling those emotions as a child, we all know that they're going to come up in life. But if you haven't been provided the tools on how to deal with that anger in a healthy way, obviously we see as adults it come out in, different formats, right? So yeah, I think also, and you can let us know the importance of teaching our kids how to deal with it in a healthy way.
The healthiest way to teach yourself and your children how to deal with anger is to show them that you see their anger, that is anger, give it a name, show them that you see it, and don't say that they're wrong because they're angry. Invite them to show more anger because anger is healthy emotion. And just by staying there and saying, I see that you are angry and your anger is welcome, you're helping them so much because they're learning that it's actually something. It's not something bad. It doesn't mean that they're bad because they're feeling that. When we say you cannot feel that, you cannot speak with me like that, you're so small, you don't have right to speak with me like that, we are sending child that message that they're wrong because they're feeling anger. By saying, I see you and I see that you are angry and your anger is welcome. I'm happy to see your anger. We are saying, child, you're fine. Nothing is wrong with you. It's completely fine and healthy that you're showing me. It's just one part of you. And when we receive that healthy way of parents dealing with our anger when we're children, later on, we don't have difficulties with dealing with anger. We can express it, but it's not, that anger that can kill, that strong power that when it starts, it can just destroy everything. We don't have that kind of anger. We have healthy anger that we're playing with. Anger is a healthy emotion. On one side in ourself, one side is anger, on another side is strength. When we have healthy connection and relationship with our anger, we easily can enter in our strength. Because of that, it's important to teach our children from early ages to deal with anger, and that anger is completely fine and healthy emotion.
Excellent. Now, another thing I kind of want to take a look at, because there's a lot of stigma there. Well, there's been a lot of, I guess we've seen a lot of change in the last couple of years around some of the stigmas that relate to mental health, but a lot of people don't know what psychotherapy is. And just when you hear the name of it, it's not quite what it sounds like. I didn't know what it was myself until one of the hospitals I worked at. We actually had a psychotherapist on staff who helped our staff deal with some of the traumatic things that they experienced and help them, get back to this point where they were ready to come back to work after a significant impactful event. But can you explain to us exactly what a psychotherapist is and how that kind of relates to, just receiving help from a psychotherapist, or, I guess that whole spectrum of what a psychotherapist is and what psychotherapy is in relation to that.
Mhm. So basically, psychotherapy is a modality that is like extension to psychology. So basically, psychotherapist is someone who is there for you to provide safe space where you can express everything that you cannot in the rest of your life in reality. So basically, everything that you're dealing with, you're bringing to psychotherapy in order to find someone who will not judge you or put you down because you're angry, anxious, sad, whatever you're feeling. So, the healthiest way to deal with yourself and your life is to go weekly on psychotherapy. That's my personal opinion, where you will bring everything that you cannot deal with or you need extra support and work on that with your psychotherapist. You know, all those situations when you are waiting in line and you get anxious and angry because you're waiting too long or someone is came in front of you and not, you know, not behaving fine. So basically all those situations are situations that are activating some kind of emotions in ourselves. And even though we are healthy, some kind of anger, fear, sadness are happening inside of us. The best way to take care of your mental health is to bring all those situations to psychotherapy, work on them, heal your past, heal your childhood in order to be better to yourself and then to others. I hope that I answered on your questions. It's a little broad, but psychotherapy is basically safe space where you can be whoever you are and find support.
Mm-hmm. And is it something where people do on a long-term basis? I know you said it's usually weekly. So how does that, I'm going to guess it's going to be per case or per, but what's the length, I guess?
So basically, it's different from modality to modality. But what is happening there, as example, REBT. It's a rational emotional behavioral therapy. And I know, as I remember, that they have like 6, 8 months treatments. You go there weekly, 6, 8 months, and then you know how to deal with the problem quickly. And they give you solution. You use those techniques, and you continue your life functioning better. On the other hand, we have psychoanalysis and body oriented psychotherapy and stuff like that. It's a long term treatment. It's a like life development and changes. You're creating so many changes. You're following yourself, others, interactions with other people, and it's a long term. But basically, what you receive is magnificent, really.
That's great. Now, I just want to circle back to, we were talking about boundaries and setting them at the beginning here. So you talk about gentle and strong parts, which I was curious to learn about. So I guess, how do we set boundaries going based on the gentle and strong parts you talk about?
Mhm. So basically, I will use in this example females. Females need to go on work. They need to have a successful, um, I don't know, amazing income, to look beautiful, to take care of themselves, to go on to visit hairdresser, to have always makeup, to go in gym. All these new philosophies in 21st century are creating that kind of female, magnificent, strong, powerful woman. And while normal, regular female person is trying to be that ideal version of that person that we're seeing in media or social media, we're trying and we're trying so hard. And that's that strong part, the
Okay.
part where we need to push ourselves to be good looking, fit, rich, magnificent. On the other hand, we're soft emotional females. That's our biological side, that we have stronger that emotional part. We can feel more, we are more empathetic, etc. So basically we need to learn how to combine those two. So all
Okay.
those new philosophies in 21st century are forcing us to be positive, strong, successful, and we need to learn how to be gentle and to say, slow down, you don't need to do anything, you can do that tomorrow, and you won't be perceived as bad, sad, poor, or I don't know, something else if you just say, today I'll take day off.
Yeah. Okay. So yes, that makes a lot of sense now. That now that you explain that, and especially using us ladies, right? Because it's true. In the 21st century, so much has changed, and there are a lot more responsibilities. I personally believe that women have to carry compared to 100 plus years ago, when maybe a lot of them weren't even working. It was more home, right? And obviously, we can do it all, but a lot of times there's women who feel stretched, and then what comes next is run down, and the physical feelings that can impact your body as well, right? So to have it explained like that, it definitely makes a lot of sense.
I'm happy to explain, and I'm happy to be here as well.
Now, I'm just curious. So this question is just for my own curiosity, because I know to be a psychotherapist, it's not easy. There's a lot of study that goes into it. You're spending years in learning this profession. What made you want to be a psychotherapist?
I don't know, to be honest. So it was a natural path. When you start with university, you have a bachelor, then you have master. It's in psychology, then it's in clinical psychology, master. Then it's a natural path is to continue specialization in psychotherapy. And the specialization is between 4 and 6 years. So I was researching modalities, and I was doing an internship in military academy, working on psychiatry, and then I was working in prison as clinical psychologist. And then I realized that actually I want to learn more about those parts, about psyche, about relationship between people. And in order to do that and work like psychotherapist, you need to do specialization that is between 4 and 6 years. And then I was doing a small research. And when I chose, it was 3 years ago, I chose integrative body-oriented psychotherapy. And right now I have 2 more years to finish it. So I'm supervised psychotherapist. And this year I'm enrolled on PhD. So
Wow.
yeah, I think I think that education is a life thing. You're doing that all your life if you want to be good in your job. First of all, you need to understand that education is a life process. You cannot just finish university and expect that that's it. I passed through master in digital marketing. And can you imagine, digital marketing is today one thing, tomorrow another thing. They're constantly changing algorithm, and it's like that in psychology, So basically, you can use one technique, and in 2 months they can learn and find out something amazingly new that can help people. And if you don't know that technique, it's bad for you.
Right. Yeah, you miss out on it and being able to share with the clients that you work with. So in total, how many years have you been in school then?
I'm in school more than 10 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Good for you.
Yeah, that's definitely commitment right there.
Yeah. Yeah, it is.
Now, another thing. So one of the goals of your platform, one of the really important goals is to help prevent suicides. So can we unpack that a little bit? So just in terms of, you shared some personal experience with people that who have either attempted or unfortunately committed suicide. But, so from some of your studies, I guess, what are some of the key things that we should just know about suicide, so we can, just in our day-to-day lives, we can try to help do a small part to help prevent some of those instances?
Most of the time, something that happens before suicide is a deep, strong depression. So people who decide to, commit or attempt suicide, basically they really lost motivation to live. They don't have any, they don't see anything. Their purpose, why they're there on earth, they don't know what they can change. They don't see the light at the end of the tunnel. They're really trying, but they cannot. It's important if we feel something like that, like we are losing the motivation to live, to really start to connect psychotherapists, to talk people around yourself, with your support system, with your family members, friends, colleagues, etc. But if we see someone else who is slowly losing energy and motivation to live, to wake up at the morning, to go to work, to eat food, some basic needs, then it's nice. It will be great if we can talk with that person, advise, to ask with someone who's professional, because people think that, it's selfish to do something like that, that people doesn't know what they're doing, that so many things are rude as stigma and everything around that. But basically, those people need love and support.
Mm-hmm.
And if we can see and provide that to them, we'll save their lives. And when I realized through my work and through my clients that really they need love and support, and if they receive that, they can slowly start to return the belief that they're fine and they'll be fine and they're safe. And then they won't attempt or commit suicide. So this is the goal of the platform, to provide love and support, that someone is there, they're not alone, and they don't need money for that. Someone will hear them with or without money.
Yeah, and I think that's so important too, right? Because finances, do come up, and sometimes people who, don't have, like in Canada here, if you are working, you get a lot of coverage with the benefits and stuff like that, right? So it is a lot easier to get yourself counseling, psychologist and all that kind of stuff. But for people who don't have the coverage, that's probably, I'm going to guess, the biggest roadblock for them in regards to getting the help that they need, right?
And I would say even here where we do have universal healthcare where things are provided, sometimes these resources still aren't available just because it's just not readily accessible. Like you might have to wait wait quite a bit of time for an appointment.
Yeah, I agree. It's same here and in the rest of the world. People can find it. Maybe it's free, but they need to wait 2-3 months for it.
Yeah.
And for that 2-3 months, what will happen with them? So I wanted to create that platform where maybe they need to wait, but they need to wait 1 week or 5 days, something like that, but not months in order to find some support.
Mm-hmm. And I think too, it's important to touch on the fact that, like, the sad reality is, for people, who have experienced the loss of a loved one, that even with providing that love and support to them, or, helping them get to appointments and all that kind of stuff, that at the end of the day, that wasn't, not that it wasn't enough, but they still ended up taking their lives, right? So it's sad to see when that does happen, but for the people that are left behind, knowing that they did offer as much help and support as they could to their loved one, right?
Exactly. Most of the times they gave everything that they could, and the best that they can. And when something like that happens, they're criticizing, they're judging themselves, they're putting themselves up. They need help and support as well, not just the ones who are thinking to hurt themselves, but the people that are left behind, they need support and love. And it's very famous in this 21st century that, you have niche with whom you are working. And, in order to be specialized, you need to help one niche. But basically, when you touch souls of people, and I work with so many people for 5 years, under is the same problem, the lack of love and support. And so basically, when you touch their souls and speak with so many people, you will understand that most of them, I don't want to say 100 people, but 99% have that lack of safe contact, safe person whom they can trust, and enough love. And that is the start where problems start, because people didn't have that.
Right. And also too, on the flip side is that their loved ones can only help so much, right? Because not everybody's trained to be a psychotherapist and counselor, psychologist, and all that kind of stuff, right? So also knowing when it's like, okay, you know what, this is too much for me to take on, and we do need to get you that support and that help, right?
Yeah, I agree with you. Most of the people didn't train, or they're not in touch with themselves, you know.
Mm.
Sometimes we ask someone for help, love, support, but they don't have it for themselves. How can they provide for us? So
Mm-hmm.
it's important to, you know, spread the word about mental health,
Yeah.
psychotherapy, self-development, so people can start to read about that. People are saying lately that self-help books are bad, but when you start with them, they're amazing. It's a first step that you're taking in order to learn more about yourself, your psychological paths, others, etc. So everything is good, but it's important to raise awareness about psychology, mental health, etc. So yeah, I agree with you. When they learn about those things, they will be able to help others better, first themselves, then others.
Yeah.
Now, to get a platform like this, obviously, you know, yourself and other people are willing to give up their time and like commit to do this for free. So I'm just curious, how is that sustainable? Do you have people who are kind of helping in the back end financially? Like, are there people who are putting support behind having an app like this in place?
No.
Oh wow.
So basically, I am financially, I'm giving financials, and I'm like supporter of my project. And
Okay.
everything that I earn, part of my income, I put aside for my project. And since it's at the beginning, it's like almost 5 months old. I'm trying to, you know, build it up, and then in one point I will look for investors, donors, etc. But right now I want to, you know, make sure that everything is functioning, that it's set up, it works very well, that people know what they're doing, what is their purpose, to organize everything, and then later on my idea, of course, is to, you know, outsource something, but I cannot outsource it right now. But it's a plan to do that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And I think many people get it, right? When you're starting something off, it's like all hands on deck. You really got to be in there and do that groundwork, but such a beneficial platform for so many people, right? And I'm sure it energizes you to see the fact that others and so many people are benefiting from it and getting that support, right? So it sort of gives you that energy literally to keep going.
Exactly like that. You can't imagine. People are, you know, talking on internet about money, income, hustle, millions. But when I enter, because we are sending people anonymous questionnaires, and when I open to read those questionnaires, what people are saying, how they feel after working with psychotherapists, those comments, you know, we saved some lives, we saved some marriages, we saved some
Mhm.
children. And when you read that, there is no money or something else that they can fulfill that. It's a magnificent feeling of really doing something that matters.
Mhm.
Yeah, so let's talk about the app a little bit more. So I'm just going to put it back up on the screen again. But again, so right now it's can you just share with us again where it's available, where people can access it? Well, I guess what parts of the world. I should be more specific.
Uh-huh. So the platform is in English. And when you enter the website, you will see that there is a list of languages. So there is Serbo-Croatian. It's for countries in Balkan region in Europe. It's Serbia, Croatia, Bosnia and Herzegovina, Montenegro, and Slovenia. And there is Macedonian. It's for people in North Macedonia. There is a Turkish language for people in Turkey, and we have English language. We are still you know, raising awareness about the platform and trying to invite psychotherapists to join us. So there is not a lot of psychotherapists for English, Turkish, and Macedonian languages, but you know, soon it will be. We are working on it through PR, marketing, etc. And next week we will be open in Norway, so people
Okay.
in Norway will as well be able to seek for psychotherapy for free.
Awesome
Yeah,
stuff.
that's great.
Now, the other thing I'm going to put up as well is the information for your Linktree. So if you're familiar with Linktree, it's Linktree /Feelcom. And again, we'll have this in the show notes for anybody who can't see it. But just some of the things that are available there. There's actually a free session, free 30-minute session as well.
Yeah, that's the best start to see if we are good fit to work together is to book free session. And in 30 minutes, you will see if your system and your body see me as someone who can calm you down and help you to feel better. There are plenty psychotherapy, psychologicals, whatever you like, healers. But in order to see me as someone who can support you through that process, it's a great way to book free session in order to let your body feel if I'm good fit for you. So yeah, because of that, I offer free session.
Okay.
All right. Now, and in terms of who's a good fit, does it, what does that look like? Is it somebody who's maybe just overwhelmed with life? Obviously someone who is at a point where they realize they're depressed or they've received a diagnosis of depression. Does it have to be that, or, do people contact you that haven't gotten to that point yet?
Most of my clients from Canada, most of my clients are in Toronto, in Canada, and in California and New York. So basically, people from that part of the world, they want to work on themselves to be better. So they contact me and they say, I want to be a better father, better husband. I don't know, I want to have a better relationship with my boyfriend, etc. So basically, that kind of topics. They want to feel better and be better for themselves and then others. In Europe, people are contacting me when they are bad. It means that they have some problem, they have some issue, and they want to work on that because they don't know, they're already overwhelmed. But it's a different type of cultures, and still in Europe there is a huge stigma about it, about psychotherapy. People think that they're crazy if they go to psychotherapy, and people in US and Canada, they're like, okay, let's work on ourselves, let's heal, let's upgrade. But we are working on that to raise awareness that psychotherapy is a great thing for both clinical and not clinical population. It's an extra support for you.
Yeah. And I think it's really only been, in the last few years here in North America where that stigma is changing and people are seeing, like, not even do you actually have to wait till there's a big problem to see somebody for support, but actually, like you said, somebody realizes, what, I just want to be better, I want to do better, I want to learn new tools, right? And having that support as a preventative measure compared to waiting till you're on the other side where it's gone too far, right?
Yeah, exactly like that. So it's better to start before and to prevent something that can happen. So
yeah. I just have a question for you, just for regarding anxieties, right? What are your thoughts? Do you feel that everybody can have a sense of some type of anxiousness in their lives?
Mm-hmm. Yes, I agree. So basically, anxiety is fear. Anxiety is a kind of fear where you don't have control and you have extreme tension inside of your body. It can be in your throat, it can be in your stomach, your hands can shake. Your body will tell you if you're anxious. And in that situation, most of the time, you're feeling fear. And there are certain ways, different ways that you can realize that you're anxious. And then there are certain exercises and techniques that you can do in order to calm down your system. Since I'm body-oriented integrative psychotherapist, I think that when we move our body, we can calm down ourselves. And there are certain exercises such as grounding. You can ground yourself. There are several breathing techniques that you can do. And people underestimate those things, It's just body, it's just breathing. No, it's magnificent. Those things will help you. When you just, as example, slow down and put your hand on your chest and breathe for 5 minutes, and look at your feet and see that you're down, that you're supported with floor, that you're sitting on something, that helps, Those techniques are maybe simple, but they're working. And people they're waiting for something magical and huge to change so they feel better. But no, your body, your time, that is the place where change will happen.
Mm-hmm.
And I know we've spoken to this before in interviews that we've done, just the importance of breathing, but no one's really been able to break it down. So maybe you can for us, like what's actually happening in your body when you start focusing on your breathing that has that calming effect?
Slowing down. So that's the first and most important thing. What is happening? We are seeing so many notifications. We are listening different music. People are talking to us. We are receiving million messages. Parents are calling us. We're late for work. We need to run. We need to go in gym. We need to be good looking. Check social media. So many things. And you just sit down, slow down, and start to breathe. You don't even need to meditate in order to calm down yourself. You just need to breathe, to be aware that you're breathing. So basically, what is happening when you're breathing? You're inhaling through nose, inhaling through mouth. While you're doing that, it's important to be aware that our jaw is most of the time stuck while we are living our life. And it's important to be aware when you want to relax yourself, to relax your jaw. And when you exhale, to relax your jaw and open your mouth. So that is a whole process that you need to be aware of in order to calm down yourself. The best way to start doing breathing exercises is to lay down or sit down. So you have extra support with a chair or the floor. And what you're doing, you're becoming aware of that process that is happening. It's a natural process that is happening in every second of our lives. But when we put our focus on that, everything else disappears and lose, let's say, weight. So we are anxious, we are angry, we are scared, whatever it is, we start to breathe and everything else just calms down and we become present of our body and ourself in the present moment. And that breathing gives us more energy, more nutrients, because through breath, we are giving oxygen to our blood, and then we become more aware of our body. So basically, that's the simple explanation of what is happening when we breathe.
Excellent.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Milica, I think we've had a great conversation. We've covered a lot of ground. Again, we shared the contact information, so anybody who is in this line of work who could possibly help Milica build out this platform, again, I don't want to speak for you, but if anybody has any investor dollars to throw around, obviously this is a great cause. But before we wrap up, anything else that you wanted to share with everyone who's listening before we close off here?
I would like at the end to say that anybody who is psychotherapist and they have 1 hour a week for free, they want to provide for free and they want to donate that time. It's 1 session per week. Feel free to contact me. You shared my links and I will be happy to share more details with them. But right now, I'm looking for more psychotherapists to join the platform and help people.
Awesome. Well, there you have it. So, Milica, thank you for taking the time to join us today. And for everyone who watched or listened, thank you for letting us disrupt your everyday.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening to the Disrupt the Everyday podcast. For more ways to listen, connect with us on social media. To be a guest or to partner with us, check out our link tree at Disrupt the Everyday. Join us next time for more ways to disrupt the everyday.